The 97th New York Infantry, along with its brigades, surged into action against the advancing Confederate forces along Oak Ridge on the first day of battle. The men from the Empire State, determined and resolute, loaded and fired their muskets with frantic speed as the intensity of the combat rapidly escalated. Amidst the chaos, the sounds of gunfire and cries of battle filling the air, an officer in Company K stood firm, urging his men on with unwavering resolve. Lieutenant Rush Cady, in the thick of the fray, called out words of encouragement, his voice rising above the growing clamor. Cady didn't merely lead by words. He also took practical action, helping his soldiers in their most critical moments. As the battle raged on, he moved swiftly through the smoke and chaos, pulling paper cartridges from the ammunition boxes of his men and tearing them open. This saved precious seconds that might otherwise have been lost in the heat of battle. One sergeant, reflecting on the scene, later recalled that Cady remained as cool as nothing but play, despite the enemy's bullets whizzing past them like lightning. Such calmness in the face of danger came natural to Cady, a man whose character had already been forged by discipline and fortitude long before the battle. The eldest son of Daniel and Fidelia Cady, Rush possessed a quiet strength and a methodical approach to life that belied his young age of just 21. The fervor of patriotism that swept through the loyal states at the outbreak of the Civil War stirred something deep within him, compelling him to set aside his academic pursuits at Hamilton College. In early 1862, he answered the call to arms, enlisting in the 97th New York Infantry with the rank of second lieutenant. The regiment soon deployed to Virginia, where it became part of the Army of the Potomac. There, Cady and his comrades proved their mettle in several fierce engagements, including the Second Battle of Bull Run, the Battle of Antietam, and the Battle of Fredericksburg. Along the way, Cady's leadership abilities were recognized, and he was promoted to first lieutenant of Company K, further cementing his reputation as a steady and reliable officer in the heat of battle. At the Battle of Gettysburg, the men of the 97th New York Infantry once again proved their courage and valor. During the fierce fighting on the first day, they charged the enemy lines with determination, capturing the colors of North Carolina Regiment and taking many prisoners. But as the Confederate reinforcements arrived and the New Yorkers were forced back, disaster struck. A bullet struck Lieutenant Rush Cady's right arm, passing through his body and lodging in one of his lungs. The sergeant, who later recounted the incident, recalled that the bullet hit Cady as he was rallying his men. The force of the shot knocked him backwards, and in a pained cry, Cady exclaimed, "Oh, I'm hit." Despite the severity of his injury, Cady remained composed. Some of his men rushed to help him to the rear, stopping briefly to give him a drink of brandy and water. By this time, the tide of battle had turned in favor of the Confederates, and Cady, going faint but still conscious, ordered his men to leave him behind and seek safety. Reluctantly, they obeyed, leaving their officer in a barn on the outskirts of town. The Confederates eventually discovered Cady's location in the barn without hesitation. They paroled him, perhaps too eager to move on to deal with other prisoners or unaware of the severity of his wound. Eventually, Cady made his way to a hospital, where a surgeon confirmed the grim news: the bullet could not be removed. They did what they could to ease his suffering, making him as comfortable as possible, though it was clear his time was running out. Despite the agony, Cady remained remarkably strong in spirit. "I am keeping up good courage. I am in a good place, where my wants are well attended to," he wrote to his family. "How I would like to be received to your arms. Oh, pray for me, Mother, that I may have grace and strength to endure my sufferings patiently." His mother, Fidelia, soon arrived from their home in Rome, New York, staying by his side day and night, her hopes never fully extinguished despite his rapid decline. On July 23rd, she wrote to her husband, "Oh, my husband, can we part with our dear brave boy? May God give us grace to bear all we may be called upon to do. Pray for me and him too, husband, mother, and child. But he may live. We have great hopes yet. Sadly, those hopes were not to be realized. Lieutenant Cady died the next day at 2 p.m. His mother, ever faithful, accompanied his body back to Rome, where he was laid to rest in the family plot at Rome Cemetery.